Today, I'm going to attempt the cannot attack tier list. So basically, any card that references cannot attack or has defender, basically there's not going to be any attacking today, which, not a lot of, there's some exciting cards, but the problem is they're not super powerful, so I gotta scale the tier list down very hard. Maybe some really bad cards are gonna be S tier. I'm gonna start off with Doorkeeper, a blue 1 generic 0/4 homunculus, and it's got Defender, which means for a blue 2 generic, I can tap it. Target player puts the top X cards of their library into the graveyard, where X is the number of creatures with Defender you control. Do you like not attacking? Do you love Defender? Do you love walls? And you like milling all at once? Maybe the Doorkeeper is for you. However, I do believe the Doorkeeper is just terrible. This is absolute crap card. But you know what? I might have to move it. Like where does it belong? I think it's like a D tier card. Maybe it's C tier though, because the more walls that you have, like the more defenders you have on the table, the better the milling gets. And maybe if you can like, maybe if you have a wall of walls, you know, do you like that pun over there? This can actually do something, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. All right, we got the Wise Man Robert with Pacifism. Pacifism. I used to think that this card was pretty good. Like 2 mana, it's an aura, white 1 generic, enchant creature. They can't attack or block. I mean, that's like, it's almost like hard removal. Now, there is a bit of a downside to this. The first one being, well, they can destroy the enchantment at any point. If you just killed the creature, well, there's not really a lot of good ways to undo that. But, yeah, they could blow up the enchantment later on. Also, if they've got abilities, they could still use the abilities. Like, I remember I was using this versus an ally deck, and holy crap, it was bad. I was in this league at a local game store. We had to play 3 games a week, and every damn week, I had this blue-eye control deck. Every week, I play against this damn ally deck, and Pacifism really sucked. That being said, it's like not a bad piece. It's not the worst piece of removal. It'll sort of do what you want it to do. It's better than the homunculus, if you ask me. I will give it B tier. I could be horribly dead wrong about that one, though. The Tabernacle doesn't count. Doesn't stop you from attacking with your creatures. That is just, it will just destroy the damn thing. Alex with Propaganda. That one definitely will count, though. Propaganda. Now, it's a soft. It's slightly soft in what it does. So it's a blue 2 generic. Creatures can't attack. So that's totally fine. It's within the title. They can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. And you've faced this card down in Commander. It's like, I want to attack Billy for like 3 damage, but they got the damn Propaganda. Well, that means I gotta pay 2 mana. If I pay the 2 mana, I can't play my bigger spell this turn. Well, F it, I'm just not gonna attack Billy at all. So Propaganda is actually an insane, it's like basically 3 mana gain, I don't know, 40 life. It's an enormous deterrent from getting people to attack you. Very poor in one-on-one play, but incredibly effective in 4-way play. And for that reason alone, I don't know, this might be early, but because I think these cards are such low power, I actually think this is an S tier level card. It's also like more or less a staple in like an enormous number of decks. Zach, Imprisoned in Moon. That has nothing to do with cannot attacking, isn't it? Hold on, let me look at Imprisoned in Moon. Imprisoned, it just removes turns the thing to a land, right? Imprisoned in the Moon. Chant lands, creatures, lose all abilities. Yeah, has nothing to do with cannot attack. Remember, Defender or cannot attack is completely legal. Okay, no, you got one already. We gotta spread the love around, the Wise Man. I can get back to you, though. Okay, Toilet Duck with Ether Membrane. Ether Membrane. It's a red 1 generic 0/5 Defender with Reach? You better believe it's reaching. It's reaching for something. It's got reach around. Okay. Whenever Ether Membrane blocks a creature, return that creature to its owner's hand at end of combat. So, red, not known for their defense. So this, right off the bat, is like not very synergistic with like any red deck whatsoever. Also, no one will, I don't know, maybe some decks will attack into this. Like if there's a token deck, maybe they'll go wide. But otherwise, like why would anyone want to attack into Ether Membrane? Because then they're going to lose, they're going to like, let their creature get bounced. So they're basically going to kill this thing or not. I'm not a huge fan of the Ether Membrane. I think it is homunculus power level. I'll put it in C tier. It could be D tier, but like there's actually a lot, at least with the homunculus. I mean, blue is still like a milling color. Red is like red. Why does red have defender? Red is all about attack, aggression, going to the face. Okay, we got Magler with Halls of Mists. Sorry, Halls of Mist. Or is it Hall of Mist? I think it's Hall of Mist, right? Oh no, it is Halls of Mist. It's an oldie. It's got cumulative upkeep 1. No creature can attack if its controller if it attacked during its controller's last turn. It's also on the reserve list. Interestingly enough, this is a $2.50 card. Now it does have cumulative upkeep, but basically what it says is any creatures that attack, they have stun, so they cannot attack again the next turn. So that's good. That's a good point. But the bad side, cumulative upkeep. Also, land costs you your land drop. I mean, unless you're playing out like several lands a turn, this is not going to work out the way you want it to. Also, cumulative upkeep, so it's going to perish eventually. It can't even pay for itself. I give it, I don't know. You know what? I want to give it A tier, but it looks like no one even wants to play this thing at $2.50 on the reserve list. I'll put it into the B tier. Now, the wise man Robert found out how pay to win works. And you pay and you win. Glacial Chasm. The OG one. Okay, now this, a little bit more worth it. Cumulative upkeep, pay 2 life, not your mana. When it comes into play, sack a land. You cannot attack. However, all damage that would... Okay, that's a funny one. This is not preventing your opponents from attacking, it's preventing you from attacking. You cannot attack, however, all damage dealt to you is reduced to 0. If you have infinite life, there's like a lot of ways of getting around this. Playing cards that say that you can't lose the game, like Platinum Angel. Also cards that say, what's it called? If you have infinite life available, you can infinitely pay for the Glacial Chasm. Although if you have infinite life, why would you care about all damage dealt to you is reduced to 0? Whatever. There's ways of getting around the Glacial Chasm. What do we even take a picture of? We'll take a picture of the left butt cheek of this Glacial Chasm. Amazing card. Actually sees legacy play in the lands deck. Very, very strong. Other good things about this, very easy to tutor. Like, there's like a million ways of tutoring lands. Like, tons of green cards will tutor up lands, or look for a colorless card in your deck. So that gives it an extra bonus as well. Oh, Platinum, you can't pay life you don't have. Oh, okay. Interesting. Hold on. Give upkeep, pay 2 life. When it comes into play, sack a land. How do they combo with this card then? Oh, no, sorry. Lands actually combos with this card by not paying the life. They don't pay the life, sacrifice it, and then they bring it back from the graveyard back onto the battlefield, if you can get that interaction going. Interesting. All damage dealt to you is reduced to 0, and you take no damage. Okay. I analyzed this card dead wrong, but I know it is a very powerful card, so you have to recycle it from the graveyard. Okay, we got, next up, Rowan, Collective Restraint. We got a blue 3 generic enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays X. For each creature attacking you, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. It's like Propaganda, but you do have to have more basic land types onto the battlefield. A little bit more chunkier, but will get the job done. So it's a little less flexible because it only goes into the 5, like it's more playable in the 5 mana deck. I actually probably should give this S tier. It is not that much worse from Propaganda. Like, even though there's less decks that can play this thing, I mean, you go fetch, shockland, fetch, or fetch Triumph, fetch shockland, and boom. Your opponents have to pay, it's basic land type. So you can have a Triumph and a shockland in play, or a dual land of any sort, and it will work. It will work. Wow, you guys are coming up with good cards. Maybe I gotta demote Collective Restraint and Propaganda. We'll, okay, so on, what was the next one? Moat? Who came up with Moat? Who do I credit with Moat around here? Alan! Because this is obviously a S tier card. White 2 generic enchantment. Creatures without flying can't attack. So some creatures can't attack, but most of them don't fly. Also, creatures with very huge flavor fail. Anything with Island Walk should also be able to attack through the moat. Okay, I'm demoting Propaganda and Collective Restraint. Very good cards, but they're not in the same league as Moat or the Glacial Chasm. Great cards anyway. Okay, Ginger Snap. Thank you very much for your super chat. Elven Grass is my favorite can't attack card. I just remember this is a card that's very no, it's not very expensive. I'm thinking of the wrong card here. Green enchantment, cumulative upkeep of 1. Hate cumulative upkeep. However, black creatures cannot attack you. Non-black creatures cannot attack you unless they're... Non-black creatures cannot attack you unless their controller pays an additional 2 for each attacking creature. Which one supersedes the other? It says, like, black creatures can't attack you, but then black creatures can't attack you unless they pay 2. Shouldn't they just have one of those abilities on there? And on top of that, they errated this card, and it still says both on them. Oh, sorry, no. I didn't. You know what? It's early in the morning. Black creatures cannot attack you, period. But the non-black creatures, blue, white, green, and red, they can attack. They absolutely can attack. All right. This is actually, but it still has cumulative upkeep. But you are in green. All right? Green is not a bad color to have a bunch of mana. We get that little bit of elephant over there. It's better than pacifism. It's just a little bit more clunky of propaganda, but they have more room to actually pay for the damn thing. I disagree with this propaganda about propaganda. I don't even know what the propaganda you said about propaganda. It's all real. Does Fate Spinner count? Ooh, that's a tough one. From Old Boy. Beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player chooses draw step, main phase, or combat phase. The player skips. No. I'm disqualifying it. Bryce! Thank you very much for the super chat. The Angelic Arbiter. Angelic Arbiter is a white 5 generic 5/6 flying angel. Each opponent who casts a spell this turn can't attack with creature. Really? So I play spell. That doesn't even sound good. Each opponent who casts a spell this turn can't attack with a creature. I'll just attack first. So I mean, or I'll even play my spells during combat. Each opponent who attacked with a creature this turn. Oh, interesting. You pick one or the other, because each opponent who attacked with a creature this turn can't cast spells. You play spells or you attack, you don't get both. But I mean, still, it doesn't affect people who can play at instant speed. I can play my creatures on my opponent's turn, play my instants on my opponent's turn. But, okay, so if you build your deck around Flash, this card's not bad. That's not bad at all. It's actually really strong. It makes the game really awkward for some people. I give that A tier. I like that card. Islarf, Wooded Footlands. Is it related to Wooded Foothills by any chance? Oh, sorry, no, it's Flooded Flooded Woodlands. That's what confused me. Black blue 2 generic enchantment. No green creature can attack unless its controller sacrifices a land whenever that creature attacks. That's brutal. Green creatures can attack unless their controller sacks a land. For each green creature. Each one. This just puts a huge stomp on the green players. I mean, now, they can attack. Here's the downside. They can attack. So when they attack you, they're very likely going to kill you. Creatures can attack. Oh, and it affects everyone at the table. Like, it's not even if you attack me. If you attack anybody, you got to sack a land. It's actually not bad. Quite strong card. This is a 69-cent card, by the way. This is a very strong... I think it's quite strong. It's very annoying, very taxing on people. And you have this plus propaganda. They're smoked. A tier. I like that card a lot. Next super chat comes from Platonic Liquid with Guafa Hazid. Guafa Hazid. The Profiteer. Also, do fog effects count? They do not count. That prevents combat damage. We want cannot attack. Blue-white, one generic for a 2/2 human rogue. Pay Azorius, tap. Put a bribery counter on target creature you don't control. Its controller draws a card. Creatures with bribery counters on them can't attack or block. That is weird. So we paid the opponent to not attack or block to defend themselves? Seems like a risk not worth paying. So it's effectively... It's almost like destroy the creature, or like pacifism, and your opponent gets a card out of it. It is nice that it is recurable. It is also nice that it is a legendary creature. I think this also is worth A tier. It's like, and you can do this at instant speed. This looks like a very good political card as well. It looks very political because, you know, if your opponent needs to get through some damage with a lot, you know, something big, you can say, okay, well, I'll make sure that this creature can't block and won't do anything to you. It's a nice one. 333, a form of the dragon. I love your avatar. Bakayo. Not a great one, but it is so epic. Yeah, this is one of those cards. Actually, it's really good to pull off, but it's really hard to pull off because it's so expensive. So it's 7 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, Form of the Dragon deals 5 damage to target creature or player. At the end of turn, your life total becomes 5. Creatures without flying cannot attack you. So it's a little bit of a moat. It's actually not too bad. It's just supremely clunky, and you have to have the right deck for it. I'll put in the B tier. It's not great. It's not bad. You pull it off, it's going to be good. King Ginger or a Blazing Archon? What are they blazing? That's what I would ask. What's the Archon smoking? Okay, so this is 9 mana. Flying creatures can't attack you. It is a 5/6. So it's a it's like Moat, but very, very expensive. However, it's literally creatures cannot attack you, not even the flying creatures. I guess because he's defending the skies. Now, white, also not really known for getting a whole lot of mana. A tier or B tier? A tier or B tier? F it, I give it the A tier. Very strong effect. Basically puts a stop to everybody at the table. Well, it can't attack you, but they can attack each other. Actually, that will give it a bonus. They cannot attack you, but you guys can attack amongst yourselves. You know, just, you know, get out of here. We got another super chat. We've got Hikoa's Norin's Annex. Norin's Annex is a Phyrexian 3 generic artifact. Creatures can attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays a Phyrexian white for each of those creatures. This is like a really expensive propaganda, and I also don't know if it's really that expensive to pay. Like, they can pay their life if they want to. It's a little bit worse than the other traditional propagandas. So for Norin's Annex, I give it B tier. Slightly worse than the other ones. Like, it's literally 3 mana, 4 life, or it's even more expensive than that. And the cost is actually cheaper. Like, they don't have to pay mana. If they want to pay life, they're going to pay life. No big deal. Next up, we have Mark Zilla's Promise of Loyalty. It is a white 4 generic sorcery. Each player puts a vow counter on a creature they control and sacrifices the rest. Each of those creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control for as long as it has a vow counter on. Is this a board wipe? Each player puts a vow counter on each creature they control and sacks the rest. Oh, sorry, on a control. Oh, sorry, a vow. They put a vow counter on one creature, the rest get obliterated. Then each of those creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control as long as it has a vow counter on it. So I board wipe, and by the way, none of those things can attack me. This card is insane. They're doing a pinky promise around here. They're doing a pact. You guys can attack each other, but you can't attack me. I actually like this card. It's a pretty it's effectively a board wipe for you, but then players can keep their better creatures to, you know, duke it out against the rest of them. All right, we've got F. Moralato with Petrify. Pacifism on steroids. Is it? So it's a white 1 generic. It's an aura. It's an enchant artifact or a creature. Giant permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities cannot be activated. It is, like, marginally better than pacifism. I think for commander, it is a lot better, given all the activated abilities, but still doesn't stop triggered abilities. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to demote... Do I demote pacifism down here? I think we found out what's worse. Okay, we need to clear up these tiers. Maybe there's going to be worse stuff. I'm moving pacifism down. I'll move this thing down. We can have this thing at B tier. Like, I'm not that excited about this card, but it's better. It's worse than a regular propaganda, but it's better than, like, actual pacifism. You got it. We gotta move things around. We found the tiers. Ben! Magus of the Moat. It's Moat at home, and you know what? It's actually not that bad either. White, 2 generic. 0/3 human wizard. Creatures without flying can't attack. So it's in creature form. So you don't like the idea of spending $400 on a real moat. You can spend $4 on this one, all right? That is cash money. That is money saved in the bank. And it works all the same, except it will die a lot easier. I can give it S tier. I think this is a pretty sick card. It's very cheap. Cheap to cast, which is important. Tony, the Pokemon guy, in the Magic the Gathering multiverse. We got Ensnaring Bridge. Ensnare at will. This card's broken. Where's my siren sound effect? 3-mana artifact. Creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can attack. So it's like Moat for 3 mana. Yeah, that's and anyone can play it. It's absolutely completely busted. I've hated this card for my entire life. I've never liked seeing this card show up on the other side of the battlefield. Yeah, this is the bridge. This is the bridge. Easy S tier. Actually puts Moat to shame, really. I don't even know why it stops the flying creatures. Like, since when did flyers ever go across a damn bridge? But I guess it can reach out for it as well anyway. Oh, we got Mabbit with the Wall of Junk. Oh, we got some Defender cards now. Real Defenders. Wall of Junk. It's a 2-mana 0/7 wall. Whenever... Hold on, does it have Defender? Yeah, it does have Defender. We see the Oracle text here. Back then, if you were a wall, you automatically... Actually, it wasn't even specified as a wall back then. Like, it was just called Artifact Creature. They effed up big time. Whenever Wall of Junk blocks, return it to its owner's hand at end of combat. Holy crap, that card's bad. Urza saw the wall and realized that even if he tore every Phrex into pieces, they would still resist him. But it is, as advertised, it is junk. 2 mana, what do you expect from the Wall of Junk? D tier! Mr. Deadhead trying to get Ice Flow on here really badly. Ice Flow is a 0 mana. Hold on, this is it Ice Flow? Is it this? Yeah, it's Flow, F-L-O-E. I knew what you were talking about though. Okay, it's a land. You may choose not to untap Ice Flow during your untap step. Tap target creature without flying that's attacking you. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step as long as Ice Flow remains tapped. No! Disqualified. They can attack. In fact, they have to attack in order for you to activate this damn thing. Jenfred, don't spam. For spamming, I'm not looking at your thing for another 2 minutes. You gotta be careful with the spamming. I will look at it. You be careful with the spam. A little too harsh. Toads, Maze of Ith. Does Maze of Ith count too? I don't think so. Let's go with Arborea. Again, Maze of Ith forces your opponents to attack. Here we go. Green, 2 generic, world enchantment. Creatures can't attack a player who didn't cast a spell and didn't put a card onto the battlefield during his or her... Creatures can't attack a player who didn't cast a spell and didn't put a card onto the battlefield during his or her last turn. Oh, so it protects people who didn't do squat. That's interesting. I don't know how to rate this card. Didn't put a card onto the battlefield. Yeah, if you can't play lands. If you play a land, you can get attacked. But it's an interesting card. I don't know. I'm gonna give it The problem is, like, you can't develop your board. And if you develop your board, this card is meaningless. I have no idea how you abuse this card. I'm gonna give it B tier. It could be an A tier card though. I've never seen the power of it. Okay, Chen, for your patience, a Crone Legionnaire. Whatever this thing is. The Crone Legionnaire. Okay, white 6 generic for an 8/4 giant soldier. Except for creatures named Akron Legionnaire and artifact creatures you control can't attack. What? Except for creatures named Akron Legionnaire. What do you mean creatures? Like I can clone the damn thing? Oh yeah, it's not legendary. Except for creatures named and artifact creatures. So we can only attack with our artifacts and our other stuff. This card's terrible. My stuff can't attack. C tier. At least it's a big creature. I've seen worse. There's that homunculus card. But it's really bad. We just did Ensnaring Bridge. We just did Wusty! Manor Gargoyle. It is a 5-mana 4/4 defender! It's Gargoyle. Also indestructible as long as it has defender. Alright. Also, pay 1 mana until in a turn, Manor Gargoyle loses defender and gains flying. Anyone watch the Gargoyles cartoon when they were growing up? I did. Loved the damn thing. I loved everything about that cartoon. I can't remember. I think like the producer had something to do with Magic the Gathering or something. There was some tie between Gargoyles and Magic the Gathering. Some very loose tie, but I don't remember what it was. Nothing could break it but the fall. You know what? I really don't like this card. It's 5 mana for a 4/4 flyer. I could get the exact same thing without defender, to be honest. C tier. It's a Akron Legionnaire worthy. Darkest Angel with Tasha. Unholy Archmage count. I'll see in a second. Tasha. So far, everyone who has to ask has been wrong. The unholy, the stupid alchemy card. Okay, so black, blue, 2 generic. +1 until your next turn. Whenever a creature attacks you, put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. -2, target opponent puts a creature card of their choice from their graveyard onto the battlefield. That creature gains ward 2. -6, target opponent reveals the top reveals the cards from the top of their library until they reveal 3 creature cards. Put those creatures on the battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest in their graveyard. How the hell would this count for the show? I don't even get it. Whenever a creature attacks you. Oh yeah, so like it would. The thing is, they have the option to attack anyway. There needs to be some serious downside to. Oh, I see, because it was similar to propaganda so the cost here. No, but the problem is you pay the cost first or you don't attack. Here they can always attack. It will just die. That's all. That's a problem here. But we'll donate your super chat to X Ryuran with Wall of Stone. Wall of Stone is a red 1 generic 0/8, and that's all it does. Built by the dwarves. The ground itself lends its strength to these walls of living stone which possess the stability of ancient mountains. These mighty bulwarks thwart ground-based troops, providing welcome relief for the weary warriors who defend the land. Anyone who played Wall of Stone back in the day, raise your hand, be proud. Wall of Stone goes to D tier. Completely useless by today's standards. Yeah, absolute crap tier. Damn crap tier. Okay, Arcanus with the Peacekeeper. Oh yeah, also 3 mana, 1/1. During your upkeep, pay 2 or bury Peacekeeper. Not cumulative upkeep. Creatures cannot attack. Quite good card. So it's actually 3 mana moat. It's actually one of the stronger ones. This is S tier. Now, very vulnerable creature, but still, it's very cheap to get out, and you can slow the game down by a ton. And the upkeep is manageable. 2 mana perpetually. It's better than cumulative upkeep, because at some point you aren't going to pay that upkeep. What am I doing here? Okay, next up. What is Island Sanctuary Cosmic Seeds? Island Sanctuary. Island Sanctuary is a white 1 generic enchantment. If you draw a card during your draw step, instead you may skip that draw. If you do, until your next turn, you can't be attacked by creatures, except by creatures with flying and or island walk. See, that was doing moat right. They fixed moat, but that's coming at the cost of you drawing your card every turn. I don't like that part of it. Still an effective card. I'll give it A tier. It does what it's meant to do. Rewa Stormtide Leviathan. I play this card in my Merfolk deck. Blue, 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 5 generic, 8/8 with Island Walk. And all lands or islands in addition to the other types. And creatures without flying or Island Walk can't attack. So you don't have Island Walk, your creature without flying or Island Walk can't attack, which includes yours. So make it in your own, make sure you make a flying deck out of this thing. Still doesn't oppose flyers. Also very expensive. Because it's so chunky, I'll give it A tier, but it is a very effective card when it's on the battlefield. Next super chat from Platonic Liquid. Surge Engine. Surge Engine is a 2-mana construct. It's a 3/2 defender. Pay a blue. Surge Engine loses defender and gains. This creature can't be blocked. That's not bad. That's a pretty effective, like, it's a 2-mana 3/2 unblockable creature. So basically, pay a blue, the creature's unblockable. And you would always pay this if you want to attack anyway. Pay 3 mana, Surge Engine becomes blue and has base power and toughness 5/4. Activate only if Surge Engine doesn't have a defender. So it's effectively 4 mana. It becomes blue and has base power. And that's permanent! So this is like level up done right. And you can do it at any time. Activate only if... So you can do this at instant speed. Also pay 6 mana, draw 3 cards. Alright, activate only if Surge Engine is blue and only once. That is amazing. I like this card. I don't know if it's S tier. But it is very, very strong. I'm gonna give it A tier. It could be an S tier card though. I could be wrong. I don't know how good this card is. It's not very good one-on-one because it's just too much of a mana sink. This is pretty common in standard. Really? Okay, I'm pushing it up. S tier it is. I mean, I see the potential here. It's effectively like just True Name Nemesis, really, right? 2 mana, then next turn you give it it's True Name Nemesis. And then next turn it gets bigger. I mean, it's not indestructible or whatever, but like 3/2 unblockable for 3 mana, pretty good rate. Like, not bad whatsoever. All right, you heard the music. That means we got to thank our sponsors today, FusionGamingOnline.com. This is the first place I look to get all my Magic the Gathering cards. You want to get Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Cavern of Souls, or either the new Merfolk Vampires or Pirates? You might want to check out first at FusionGamingOnline.com, just like I do. See, I'm an influencer. And also when you buy cards, you also might want to use my coupon code, just like I do as well. That's also what I use. Coupon code Nikachu to get 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Why would you want to rent cards online? Why would you want to buy your deck? Because it's cheaper if you want to play a billion decks. Are you that type of person that commits to one deck? Even when you commit to one deck, it helps to rent cards to constantly tweak and tune it as the metagame changes. But if you're the type of person that wants to play Burn one day, some Flyers deck the next day, play the Defender deck on the next week, you want to rent your cards with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_BA8. And now back to my back to the tier lists. Also, you can't get goat for the throat, which means a lot. You mean go to the throat? I don't think there's a card called Goat to the Throat. I don't know if there's Go to the Throat, yeah. Francis C, hey, I'm on my lunch break. Have we done the mnemonic wall? We have not. Mnemonic wall. Let's take a look at that wall. It's a 5-mana 0/4 defender. Enters the battlefield, you may return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. At least this is a wall that gets you value. This poor lady trapped in the ice sheets. C tier! Still not playing this damn card. That's value, but it's not enough. Goat as in goat? Oh, I see. For the throat. Algot with the super chat. Dan. Does that have Defender? Where's Dan? Dan! Was I supposed to put this all in one? Hold on. No spaces. Dan! Blue, 4/1. Dan can't attack unless this defending player controls an island. Whenever you control no island, sacrifice Dan. Let's be serious. This is a real crap card. It's only fun in its own environment, which it's like S tier in its own world. That's what Dan is. Otherwise, this is like a really bad card. This is just basically a... Hold on, let me look at this again. 4-1 for 2 mana is pretty good. Can't attack unless they have an island. When you control no island, sacrifice Dan. Okay, I can bump it up a little bit. Like, you know, 4-1 island walk, not that bad. It's a 2 mana. Dan is the fish. I know, but you can't see the fish. Everyone recognizes the boats. Most people don't even know there's a damn fish in the background over there. There's an entire format based around it. I know. So I mean, Dan is S tier in its own world. That is what I'm trying to get at here. The Boom Saver with cold storage. Cold storage is a 4 mana artifact. Pay 3. Put target creature you control on cold storage. Really? We put it on top of the card? Hold on, exile. Oh, okay. Now they say it's exile. Okay, sacrifice cold storage. Return each creature card exiled with cold storage to the battlefield under your control. Does not count. Does not say anything about cannot attacking on the card. Disqualified. But don't feel bad. Everyone gets their cards disqualified here and there. Hermoda with Wall of Shadows. And also, Wall of Shadows is black, 1 generic. Hold on, I want to see, what was the Oracle? Sacrifice, put all creatures. Yeah, okay, they're even in the original card, didn't say anything about not attacking. We got something else in mind. Black, 1 generic, a 0/1 wall, which means it has Defender. This creature can't attack. Damage dealt to Wall of Shadows by creatures it blocks is reduced to 0. Wall of Shadows cannot be the target of spells or effects that can target only walls. But it can be a target of everything else, right? Internal damage that would be dealt to Wall of Shadows by creatures it's blocking. Wall of Shadows can't be the target of spells that target only walls or of abilities that can only target walls. It's really not that bad. At least this is like one of those walls that, you know, it blocks anything. I actually think it's one of the best. Like, for 3 mana, it will perpetually block anything and take no damage. I actually think that is an A tier level card. This is one of those cards in Commander, you just put it out, and then your opponents just find that there is no reason to attack into you, so they just don't. It's like, well, I'm not going to waste my attack. I'm not going to waste my attack on Susan. Susan's got the damn Wall of Shadows out. So they just don't attack, period. I think can't attack is less annoying is creatures that can't block. What angers me is I will get hit and die. I'm very surprised you put that all in quotes, random rants. But that is quite a random rant, isn't it? We did Glacial Chasm. Okay, Christopher B. with Call Sisma Behemoth. Whatever the hell this is. Red 2 generic 5/5 Ogre Warrior. Can't attack or block unless you pay 2. Why? This is terrible. Doesn't even look like an ogre. I don't even know what an ogre is. C tier. I mean, at least you get a 5/5 creature for 3 mana. But you're perpetually paying 2 to attack. This is terrible. We got the Lightning Medic with Archangel of Tides. Archangel of Tides says, white, 1 generic, 3/5 angel. As long as it's untapped, creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. Pay up, buddies. As long as Archangel of Tides is attacking, creatures can't block unless their controller pays 1 for each of those attacking creatures. That's, sorry, for each of those creatures. This card is insane. So it's a decently bodied creature. It's 4 mana, which is super affordable, and it's flying. In combination with a lot of other effects like this, I think it's beautiful. S tier. Very, very strong card. Super annoying too. Even for 1 mana, people will second guess attacking you. That's just how this world works. I think we disqualified Fate Spinner already, so we're not doing Fate Spinner. Literally has to say you cannot attack. Okay, Will Anderson with Aurification. Aurification. Wait, you turn something into an aura? Aurification is a white 2 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, put a gold counter on it. Each creature with a gold counter on is a wall in addition to its other types, which means they can't attack. When Aurification leaves play, remove all the gold counters from all creatures. This is like the Midas touch in some weird way. Actually, I like it. Now, the downside is they can still smack you. That is a problem. You know what, for that? A tier or B tier? A tier or B tier? Decisions. Doesn't affect vigilance. No, it does affect vigilance. Okay, I'll give it A tier, but I'm not sure. My only problem with cards like this is that, like, they can attack you. I mean, they'll be like, okay, you die, you remove your cards, I lose the gold counter and all that other stuff. Sphere Safety. Oh, you know what? Thanks to cards like Sphere Safety, I'm definitely demoting. Demoting! B tier. Because Sphere Safety is just clearly better. White, 4 generic creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless they pay X for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments you control. This can be like a super... Actually, this probably is just like an S tier card. This can be simply a super propaganda, so definitely S tier. Like, even this thing has 1 on the battlefield is not that bad. They would pay 1 for Sphere of Safety. But it's very likely if you're playing this card, you're playing it in combination with a lot of other enchantments, making it just a complete pain for your opponent to attack with anything. We just did this one. Okay, Chen Fred, thank you very much for your super chat. The Chronomatic Escape. Chronomatic. Chronomantic Escape. This is a white 4 generic sorcery. Until your next turn, creatures can't attack you. Remove Chronomantic Escape from the game with 3 time counters on it. Oh, so it's perpetual. Till your next turn. But it's very expensive. Till your next turn. And then you don't have the effect for like 2 more turns after that anyway. A little chunky. And you're also spending your turn in order to prevent anyone from doing anything to you. I don't like this card. It's a one-shot shabam, even though it goes on suspend. Oh, hold on. How does this work? Yeah, then you remove. So it's perpetual, but like, I don't know if it's that good. Not thrilled. The Red Scout with Weathered Sentinels. 3 mana for a 2/5 wall. Defender, Vigilance, Reach, Trample. Wow, this thing does it all. Can't attack players who attack you during their last turn as though... Oh, sorry. It can attack players who attacked you during their last turn as though it didn't have Defender. It's like, we're coming for payback, all right? Normally... You know, we're like pretty docile, but as they say, an eye for an eye. Whenever Weathered Sentinels attacks, it gets +3/+3 and gains indestructible until end of turn. This is a pretty neat card. I don't know if it's that good, but it's clearly not bad. I'm gonna give it B tier, but maybe it's A tier worthy. I sort of like it. It sort of does everything. It's a really good defender. It's pretty cheap. It's got high toughness. It's got vigilance. It's got reach. And then, like, if you get smacked, you can attack them back for, like, way more. We did Ensnaring Bridge. It is S tier. Minkoa! Blinding Angel. I can't see. Oh, I haven't seen this card in years. I had a friend who played this against me all the time. White 3 generic 2/4 flying. When it deals combat damage to a player, that player skips his or her next combat phase. Ooh! What does the Oracle text say? Oh yeah, it's already here. Deals combat, they skip their next combat phase. Can't be blocked. This creature can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. You know what? Gets disqualified. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the same. It isn't the same. It doesn't specify things can't attack. You skip. It skips things. We can have a skip show some other time. I hear where you're coming from though. It's just that's not a door I want. Because like you could say, oh, I skip your turn, and you also can't attack. Like then those I would have to count those, so I'm not counting them. Nathan with the Elder Landworm. See, that's a slippery slope I just don't want to go down. White 4 generic for a 5/5 defender with trample. When Elder Landworm blocks, it loses defender. That's neat. But it's 7 mana. It's also camouflaged. Look at that dragon in the sand. Actually, I think this is absolute stone crap. D for dragon. It is that bad in my opinion. Alpha Nerd. Katabatic wins. Katabatic wins. And your second choice was Ghostly Prison? Well, you get the Katabatic wins. Green 2 generic enchant with phasing. Creatures with flying cannot attack, block, or use any activated abilities using the tap in the activation cost. This thing sucks. You only get it like once every other turn and only on the flyers. To the rubbish pile. D tier. I don't like it at all. Too easy to play around. We did Elephant Grass. Who has not got a card yet? I don't think Roundwave Crusher got one. Festival. It's a white instant. Opponent may not declare an attack this turn. What the F? Okay. Creatures can't attack this turn. That's it. Cast a spell only during... It's like Preemptive Fog. That's all it is. It's Preemptive Fog. And it's going into the Fog tier. Down in the D tier. One turn, no attack. Not worth it for me. Okay, DK Sovereign went with the Koshkin Falls. Or sorry, Koskin Falls. Black 2 generic enchant world. During your upkeep, tap target untapped creature you control or bury Koskin Falls. No creature can attack you unless its controller pays an additional 2 when that creature attacks. So at the beginning of your upkeep, sack it unless you tap. The upkeep is tap a creature. So it's Propaganda in black. This is a great card. So the players in black, you're envious of blue and white with their ghostly prisons and Propaganda. Well, you have your own. But it comes at the cost. It's a little bit more expensive. You got to continuously tap a creature. If all your creatures are wiped out, you're going to sacrifice this thing. But overall, I think it's worth it. Very, very good creature. J-Hogue, I'm behind. And Staring Bridge or Blazing Art. We did both of them. So thank you very much for your super chat. Very sorry that your both cards got selected, but we are going to donate your super chat, Jay. We're going to donate it to Sit the Cat with Norn's. I think we did Norn's Annex. Did we do Norn's? Oh, Norn's Annex. Yeah, we did that one. So we're going to donate to Breton. Wall of Caltrops. The F is this. White 1 generic. It's a 2/1 wall. Looks like a regular creature, but in fact, why are we even calling this a damn wall? Oh, the Caltrops thing is on the ground. If Wall of Caltrops and one more other wall join to block an attacker and no other creatures besides wall block that attacker, Wall of Caltrops gains banding until end of turn. What the F? Like, I have no idea how this card works. Whenever wall kind of blocks a creature, if at least one other wall creature is blocking that creature and no non-wall creatures are blocking that creature. Oh, I see. If it's 2 walls and no other regular non-walls, you gain banding. What a bizarre, weird card. D tier. Gotta play some damn wall deck to get banding. Screw that. It's probably sort of strong, so you can, like, divide the damage and then the walls don't die, particularly the Wall of Caltrops. So, like, it has 1 toughness, but you can, like, probably divert all the damage to the other wall. Yeah, block with 2 walls, get banding. That's how it works around here. Marvin says, watch out for the Faith-Bound Judge. It is a white 1 generic 4/4 with Defender Flying Vigilance at the beginning of your upkeep. If Faithbound Judge has 2 or fewer judgment counters on it, put a judgment counter on it. As long as Faithbound Judge has 3 or more judgment counters on it, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. And has Disturb, which means it can come back. So it has some playability in that regard. Still giving it B tier. At least it's affordable at 3 mana. It's a chunky 4/4 creature. I'm not a fan of the rest of it, though. Michelin, Peace Talks. Rock Lobster might have to make it F tier. Is that a real card? White 1 generic. Sorcery. During this turn and the next one, players cannot declare an attack, and players cannot place spells or abilities that target any permanent or player. What the hell? So for 2 turns, we do nothing. But neither you. Hold on, so this just screws over the next player. Interesting. It's like silence, but for only the person on your left. That's not what Disturb does. Disturb transforms from the graveyard. I don't know. Well, it has Disturb for 5. Oh, does it come back? Disturbed? Oh, you get to play the second half Disturbed, enchant player, and you effectively get the same abilities. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a Judgment counter on Sinner Judgment. Then if there are 3 or more Judgment counters on it, enchant player loses the... Whoa! Okay, there's a second part to this. If Sinner's Judgment would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Beginning of your upkeep, put a Judgment counter on Sinner's Judgment. If there are 3 or more... Enchant player loses the game with this card. But they have so much time to get rid of it. I'm still going to give it the B tier. That's not going to change. Okay, Peace Talks. It's an awkward... It's sorcery speed silence for 1 player. C tier. It is cheap. 3 mana is 3 mana. I've never lost to this. That's exactly right. That's why it's B tier. Okay, Alpha Nerd. Coming in hot at the end. Saviti Dragon Master. Oh, sorry, it's Savitri. Savitri! There's another Savitri card. Savitri Skarzam. There's a lot of Savitri. Oh, no, it's the same person. And it's a... she's a blue-black 2 generic planeswalker for loyalty. +1. Until your next turn, creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 2 life for each of those creatures. That works by me. -3. Search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. That's actually also pretty good. So it's a tutor. And then -7. Destroy all non-dragon creatures. Actually, it's quite a strong card. And it can be your commander. This is actually insane. Now, the only problem is I don't know how many good blue and black dragons there are in the commander thing. I'm going to make this S tier. That's a very versatile card. I like it a lot. Ooh, Steve Cooper with Hazoret. Red 3 generic, 5/4, indestructible and haste. However, there is a downside. Cannot attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. And you can also, there's the upside. You can pay 3 mana, discard a card. Hazoret deals 2 damage to each opponent. This was, at least in one-on-one, this was absolutely hot at the time. And I still think it's relatively good. Don't know if it's that good in Commander, but this is definitely an S-tier worthy card. Very, very strong. Okay, Alpha Nerd back again with the Sandworm Convergence. It is a green 6 generic enchantment. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. But everything else can. At the beginning, why is it that it can't, the flyers can't attack, but everything on the ground can? I wouldn't feel very confident against the Sandworm, you know? I would look at that thing and say, F this. I'm gonna stay on blocking duty. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. Creatures with flying can't attack. Yeah. Interesting card, but it's just so expensive is the problem. Very, very expensive card, B tier. I like the effect, but very expensive. Not very, very strong. Yeah, it's like reverse moat, but for no damn flavor reason. What, the Sandworm can't defend the ground? These aren't real cards. Get out of here. I know they're not real. That's like a Rock Lobster. This is like an unset card. Creatures named Scissor Lizard can't attack or block. Very weird. They can't feel the sand, but they can smell the air. Yeah, that's just bizarre, you know? Okay, we got Louis with Dormant Sliver. They're waiting to attack. It's a blue-green, 2 generic, 2/2. All slivers have Defender. Wow, that is like the worst sliver of all time. Why would you want to play this? The second ability has to be a bomb. All slivers have, when this permanent enters the battlefield, draw a card. I don't know. I don't know if it's good enough for me. So is this like this turns into a combo or something? There are slivers that you pay life, put it back into your hand. So you could like, maybe like, I don't know, I could see in a world, all your slivers have haste and they all add mana. So you like, And then you can pay life, bring it back to your hand, replay it, draw a card, tap it for mana, reach play it, and then, you know, you just bounce them back and forth. But you're supposed to attack with your damn slivers. I don't know, there could be something I don't, it's an engine. Oh, you know what I was thinking? There is the sliver, sorry, hibernation sliver. You could just bounce your own sliver back to your hand. You could bounce this thing back to your hand when you want to attack. Actually, so this actually could be a bomb. Yeah, you just gotta play it correctly. But if this thing's on the battlefield, you can't get it off. It sucks. I'm gonna give it A tier. It could be S tier though. I have to see it in practice. David with the Grand Master of Flowers. We got Grand Masters of everything in this game. It is a white 2 generic 3 loyalty Bahamut. As long as Grandmaster of Flowers has 7 or more loyalty on him. He is a 7/7 Dragon God with flying and indestructible. +1, target creature without first strike, double strike, or vigilance can't attack or block until end of turn. That is awfully specific. So basically, if you don't have a sword, I win. +1, search your library and or graveyard for a card named Monk of the open hand, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then search your if you search your library this way, shuffle it. The second ability pretty much sucks, and they're both like really passive. So I'm gonna give them B tier. And it needs a lot of loyalty to turn into that dragon, turn into that Drago. You could also do degenerate things with Displacer King. Oh, with the sliver. Blinky. I guess that's possible. You didn't get a suggestion? Okay, I could have swore I got you at least once. I'm gonna look into the chat. What do you got? Does Vow of Malice? Unless I like disqualified one of your cards. Sometimes you guys have already suggested a card we've done. Okay, we have a black 2 generic aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has Intimidate. And can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. Oh, you give it to their creatures. I thought we're buffing up our own creatures. Oh, that's pretty neat. But at the same time, it's pretty... So it's like... It is like removal. But I'm still gonna give it B tier. Like, the activated abilities could still screw you over. Sometimes you just have to get rid of something. But if you're afraid of some giant thing, it's a, you know what it is? It's a funsy card. It's like, okay, you can have your big creature, just don't touch me, all right? Don't be looking at me with that thing. Alpha Nerd, with Lavinia of the 10th. Lavinia of the 10th. I think this, okay, I know what this card is, and I think it's underrated. It's this Azorius card that detains everything. It's a blue-white 3 generic 4/4 pro-red, which is very relevant. Enters the battlefield, detain each non-land permanent your opponent's control with converted mana cost 4 or less. So until your next turn, those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated. That includes their like Soul Ring and Mana Crypts and like everything else. It's bonkers. I actually think this is a completely underrated card. But because nobody plays this, I can't give it S tier, but I think it's something hidden in the shadows here. I'm giving it A tier. I think this card is really, really strong. Nobody even knows this card exists. Sit the cat with paper tiger. Oh, that's talking about that. Those troll cards. Okay, always a bigger fish with Topiary Stomper. Green 1 generic 4/4 plant dinosaur. Vigilance enters the battlefield. Search your library for a basic land to put onto the battlefield and shuffle. Can't attack or block unless you control 7 or more lands. Yeah, it's basically this is when the lawn comes alive. I don't really like it all. I mean, it's okay. It's an okay card. I'm not in love with it only because, well, you need 7 lands. 7 or more lands would just attack for 4. It's better as just the type of... Oh, does it put into play? Basic land card. Yeah, it puts it into play, so it's not bad for that reason. I'll give it B tier. Like, it's fine. It's like 3 mana ramp, and it's a blocker. Well, can it... No, it can't block. Can't attack or block. Nope. Okay, B tier it is. B tier is where it belongs. It belongs in the B tier. It was born in the B tier, and it will stay in the B tier. Okay, we got Platonic Liquid. Speaking of slow and expensive... Colossus of Akros. That's the giant defender, right? 8 mana for a 10/10 defender and indestructible. But it's got monstrosity of 10. If this creature isn't monstrous, put 10+1/+1 counters on it, and it becomes monstrous, a 20/20. And as long as it's monstrous, it has trample and can attack as though it didn't have defender. I have no idea where to put this. If you have infinite mana, there are better things to spend your mana on. This would not be one of the worst ones. I guess I'll give it B tier. It's not completely unplayable. Like, if you build your deck to make this thing work, I guess it's fine. It's just like a huge waste. It's like, if you have this much mana, why are you... What do you mean no trample? No, it has trample later. When it's monstrous, it has trample and can attack. It'd be pretty crappy if it didn't have trample, though. How can a... Oh, yeah, how does the Giant Colossus... Well, because it's I think it's a statue. So, before, it's just a statue just stands there looking pretty. And maybe... I don't even know why it would defend. It's not like the soldiers are going to just walk right into it, right? It's a golem. Trapped in a tower. I guess the feet are trapped in the ground, you know? The feet are stuck in the ground. Is that a deck box in the skull brain? That's very interesting. Interesting avatar over there. Okay, let's move on with a Alpha Nerd Super Chat. Angelic Arbiter, Ghostly Prison. Angelic Arbiter. You're always preparing ahead of time. Oh, we did that one, but we didn't do Ghostly... We technically didn't do Ghostly Prison yet, even though we spoke about it a million times. Prison, Ghostly Prison. Thank you very much for your Super Chat, Alpha Nerd. White 2 generic enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. Fantastic card. Not the be-all, end-all, but very, very strong. A tier. Maybe these propagandas should be higher. I think it's better than all this. I'm promoting them. There's a lot of better cards here on S tier, but I do think that these cards are very strong. They're better than the A tier list. You gotta stay here to the end. Okay, let's get a few more before I'll pack it up for the show. Who didn't get something? Who didn't? I don't think Marvin got a card. Transform. If it transforms, it's pretty great. Golden Guardian. Yep. I don't think Canty got one. Toglodite. Next up. It's mooning me. Or it's not. Oh, it turns on and off. Slack. War Tax. I think a lot of people mentioned this card throughout the day. It is a blue 2 generic enchantment. Pay a blue X. Creatures can't attack this turn unless their controller pays X for each attacking creature. This is like a really crappy, like a really bad propaganda, because you have to sink mana into this constantly. Crappy propaganda goes to C tier. Republic Services, Uphill Battle. Red 2 generic. Creatures your opponents play come into play tap. Disqualified. Epic Note. Windborn Muse. Windborn. I don't know either. White 3 generic. 2/3 flyer. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control attacking you. That's amazing. It's literally just Ghostly Prison, 1 more mana, and it's a creature. S tier. Literally just, not strictly better Ghostly Prison. I mean, it can die, but it's pretty damn good. Okay, anyone else who didn't get a card today? Monkey Imp, do you have Archangel of Tides? We do. S tier card. Where is it? Here she is. Who else did not get anything? We're gonna spread the love around here. I don't know if Matt got one. Lupine Prototype. 2 mana, 5/5. Can attack or block unless the player has no cards in hand. This is awful. Wow. This is supremely sad. It's possible this thing will never attack or block. D tier. D tier for don't know how to attack. Alpha are going to extend the show a little bit longer. Sand Swirl something. Oh, it's for Pedgeman? Looking out for Pedgeman. Sand Swirl Wonder Glyph. Whatever the hell. Is this it? Or is there a double-sided to this? Okay, we'll read the whole thing. White 3 generic. an artifact. When unstable Glyph Bridge enters the battlefield, if you cast it, for each player, choose a creature with power 2 or less that player controls. Then destroy all creatures, except creatures with chosen this way. Craft with artifact for 5 mana. Exile this artifact, exile another artifact you control, an artifact card from your graveyard. Return this card transformed under its owner's control. Craft only as a sorcery. And it turns into the 5/3 Golem. Flyer, Flying Sand Squirrel Wanderglyph. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during their turn, they can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. Each opponent who attacked you or a planeswalker you control this turn can't cast spells. Oh, a deterrent. This is too much work, though. This is an insane amount of work. B tier. Too much work. Who else didn't get something? I think everyone got something. We did Elephant Grass. Elephant Grass is... I don't know where it is. It's somewhere there. We did Pacifism as well. It's right here in alternate art. I think everyone got something. I think everyone got something. All right, so we're gonna end the show there. It's not a bad list, actually. I honestly thought that this list would be just full of garbage, like mostly defenders. But you guys are really creative. We even have Glacial Chasm on here, which doesn't even influence our opponent's attacking. It actually influences you. So if you, oh, Alpha Nerd wants. Don't we have Sphere of Safety here? Sphere of Safety. We did that one. You were there. We did Sphere of Safety. Okay, we'll go with Evil Eye from Hermoda. Which one? I'm assuming this one. Non-eye creatures you control can't attack. Evil Eye worms can't be blocked except by walls. Well, I don't know how many eyes there are out there, but it's a... Actually, this sounds just terrible. It gives your eyes unblockable. I guess we can make it a C tier, but it's not very good. All right, and that's it. That's it for Coffee and MTG. If you want to be part of the show, you got to be here weekdays, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Also, remember, December 20th to January 5th, we'll have 2 Coffee and MTGs. The second one will be at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you ever missed Coffee and MTG because you are just not in the right time zone, this is your opportunity, with the exception of Christmas, because I don't think I'll be available in the evening on Christmas. But we gotta thank everyone who supports the show. If you're a patron, a member on YouTube, or you super chat to contribute to part of the show, I really appreciate it. You make the show what it is. And we also gotta thank everyone who shows up in the morning. Marvin, Markzilla, Darkest Angel, Toads, Platonic Liquid, Arcanus, Slack, Mr. Deadhead, Ferginka. We also have Henrik, Steve Cooper, Old Boy, Toads, Christopher B, David Hauer, and many more, of course, because you guys, Steve Cooper, because you guys are the show. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.